At its core, I think I am a person of the world. That's where I feel most comfortable. Being in new places, I think of myself as someone who is a global citizen, and I'm doing what I can to contribute to that global world.
Illegal fishing. That is a big thing in this area.
When we went up the river, we saw a lot of fish, and so their protection is working.
Dr. John Robinson has spent a lifetime gaining the knowledge of how to manage and conserve whole landscapes. The son of a diplomat, Robinson was born in Paris and learned early on the value of seeing the world through the eyes of others. For the first 15 years of his career, he applied this skill in field conservation, beginning with a study of primate behavior and ecology.
John was a fine primatologist. His early work is excellent. His early research on wildlife hunting is still classic work that people cite to this day.
He was studying Callicebus monkeys in Colombia. He saw their habitat disappearing. Cattle ranches maybe taking over forest.
You just sort of have this great feeling of loss that moved me from being just a biological scientist into becoming a conservationist.
In 1980, Dr. Robinson established the University of Florida Program for Studies in Tropical Conservation, a hub for training students and developing a conservation model for future work, a self-described pragmatic approach to conservation policy and implementation. Moving to the Wildlife Conservation Society, or WCS, in 1990, he inherited a small but legendary group of field scientists headquartered at the Bronx Zoo, and took it global.
He had the vision to say we could grow this small field research program into a global conservation program. Under John's leadership, it's since then just blossomed and grown. We now have this huge global conservation program doing wildlife conservation in 60 countries worldwide.
As the Executive Vice President for Conservation and Science for WCS, Dr. Robinson oversees conservation programs in all of the Americas, Africa, and Asia. Through empowering local people to manage their home ranges and parks, Dr. Robinson's lasting legacy may be the staying power of these conservation strategies.
Wow. So I don't see a WCS logo on a coffee plantation very often. Science focuses on facts. We do things not because we hope that it's going to work out. We do it because the facts tell us that it will. Those berries are very full of energy. He looked at this conservation area and he said, if I plant the coffee under the trees, they'll do better. That would also be compatible with this conservation forest. It is the local national staff who think through exactly how do we do it.
The approach that WCS and local communities together with government are trying to do here is to trying to address the threats. WCS key missions is to help the species that live inside the park to survive and to reproduce.
Namat Pului had almost its full complement of species, but populations had really been pushed down. Also, throughout the park, there still remains unexploded ordnance from what we call the Vietnam War. Rangers at a place like that really have an immense responsibility of protecting the area. They're dealing with people whose livelihoods are very, very dependent on natural resources.
This was the brilliance that John had in understanding how conservation really works. Getting people to be able to make a better living doing conservation has always been a priority. But your goal should always be to have an exit strategy that allows what you have achieved to be continued in perpetuity.
Oh, Watson.
If I think about Dr. John Robinson, I think about the father of conservation, not just for Laos, but the global conservation. I'm so proud to follow the steps of Dr. John Robinson.
He does it because he loves it. Why does he still love it? It's as important today as it's ever been. He wants to make a difference. He is this kind of secret giant.